Well, thanks so much for joining me today. I really appreciate the chance to be able to talk with you a little bit about the Hadwin Family Foundation, about Maddie's Miracle Grant, and all the amazing things that you're doing for the IVF community. I'll share a little bit for a lot of people who are following who may not know who I am, and then love to hear a little bit about your story, what led to the grants, the foundation, and the work that you're doing after that. So, for those that don't know me, my name is Joe Cody. I'm the founder of Grain Fertility, an application that helps empower fertility patients through their data. I'm an IVF dad myself, having gone through a long, nearly 4-year IVF journey. I've been involved with Resolve as a patient advocate leader and led Advocacy Day in 2020 and 2021. So this issue is incredibly personal to me, so I appreciate people like yourself who have turned their own stories into action and are working to try to make the community a little better and help others who are going through this struggle. So love to hear a little bit about your story, what led to the creation of the foundation, and then we can get into a little bit about Maddie's Miracle Grant, the application process, and anything else that people who may be interested would like to know.
Yeah, so our story is probably one that you're very familiar with hearing now. Basically, my husband and I, his name is Adam, he's a golfer on the PGA Tour. We checked all of our boxes, dating, engaged, married, and then went to start our family. And it was a lot more difficult than we thought it would be. We kept at it for a year or so, just trying on our own, timing everything, again, doing all the steps we, you know, had come to know were most important, but still were not having luck. So we ended up going to a reproductive endocrinologist. Unfortunately, right before we started with him, or fortunately, I got pregnant naturally, and we thought, okay, this is it. It did not turn out that way. That pregnancy we unfortunately lost, and then got pregnant again and lost that. So then we went back to our reproductive endocrinologist and said, okay, we want to move forward with IVF and do genetic testing and, try to get to the bottom line of what is going on. Like I'm sure you know, with so many other infertility families, that bottom line was never found. Everything we did, they said, I don't know, on paper it looks great. You should be, able to conceive a baby and go to term, but it just hadn't worked out for us. So we went forward with IVF because at that point it had been a couple years and my age, and we ended up with only two embryos, but with two embryos. So out of those two, we have our daughter Maddox, and out of our own, I guess, desire to give back and support the infertility community and use the small platform that we have, we created our foundation, the Hadwin Family Foundation. And through that, we run Maddie's Miracle Grant, which is an IVF grant for families in Arizona, specifically at Arizona Center for Fertility Studies.
It's one of these things I think when, we've gone through this journey and we have a success on the other side, I think it really transforms people into wanting to give something back and to be able to
Yeah.
turn the pain and the anguish and the frustration of the entire experience and to do something with it. So I appreciate you and Adam doing this. And before we get into the Miracle Grant a little bit, what are the things that the foundation is doing to be able to help patients? I think you have a great mission, and the stuff that you're doing is fantastic. But would love to be able to highlight the awesome work that the foundation is doing, and then where can people find more information if they're interested in learning more about the foundation or supporting you, on your journey?
Yeah. So our mission is simply to help build and support families in need. With that, though, our focus is on infertility and pregnancy loss and families having to go through unconventional ways to build their family. So our main avenues for that is Maddie's Miracle Grant. That's our IVF grant. It's currently a biannual grant in Arizona, but we are looking to expand it to different cities, so coming soon. And then we have a genetic testing fund through the University of Kansas. We, like I said, we had multiple pregnancy loss, and we wanted to try to discover if there was anything that would help us be able to go to term with a pregnancy and avoid so much of the heartbreak of pregnancy loss. So that was really important to us, and we got to know some people at the University of Kansas and developed a genetic testing fund for the entire state of Kansas that families can utilize with pregnancy loss and also with live birth. Their baby's in the NICU and they're trying to figure out what's going on. They suspect maybe there's a genetic component to it. the geneticists can utilize our fund if needed to help them do the testing they need. So our monetary ways are through our IVF grant and our genetic testing fund, but we do a lot with having other families that we personally know or that we have met share their stories. We love to do that during National Infertility Awareness Week, like I'm sure so many infertility nonprofits do. And just getting the word out there and being open about what we went through and trying to make it a little less taboo to talk about is very important for us in our foundation.
Yeah, I found it was almost therapeutic for my wife and I as we started to talk about it a little bit. The first year and a half or so of our IVF journey, we weren't telling anyone. It was an
Yeah,
incredibly private thing for us. And then actually the therapist that my wife was seeing and then I would go to, she recommended Resolve, the National Infertility Association, as a way for us to be able to get involved a little bit, especially using my background in healthcare policy in Washington, D.C.,
yeah.
to try to do something. So being able to tell others about your story, how did you see how people reacted to it? I found it was incredibly amazing how many people would say, "Oh, I went through this also, but I didn't have anyone to talk to. Now that I
Yeah.
know it can do it." So, what did you and Adam see as you kind of went through that process?
Yeah, I found same thing. We didn't tell anyone that we were even pregnant until a couple weeks before we had our daughter. That includes Adam's parents, and we just were so nervous that maybe something still was going to happen. So once we had our daughter and felt, okay, this really happened for us, it became really therapeutic, I think, to go ahead and let people in and say, hey, this is what was going on behind the scenes and what's been going on for years now. So for me, it was really therapeutic to basically get it off my chest. But also with people coming and sharing their stories and saying, wow, we went through the same thing, it made me realize how fortunate we are outside of the ability to afford IVF, but that our story wasn't quite as hard as we thought it was in comparison to how many people I have talked to now that have really gone through far more difficult journeys but continue to press on. So it really put things in perspective for me to hear from other people and also felt, like I said, therapeutic to get it off my chest.
Well, like I said, I appreciate anyone who has the strength to be able to share the story publicly, and especially someone like yourself who's trying to utilize the platform that you and Adam have to be able to raise awareness for this. I think with everything that we've seen happen over the last few weeks, are a lot of people who are paying attention to this issue
Yeah.
and are understanding it at a higher level and how important it is. But also, I think more importantly, how common it is too. You know, for
Yeah.
people who don't know, how it's 1 in 6 individuals who will experience fertility issues over the course of their life. So this is more and more common with individuals. So anyone like yourself who's sharing that publicly, I appreciate it and know that you are doing good for people outside of the foundation of the grant just by telling your story. So again, I appreciate everything that you guys are doing.
Yeah. Thank you. Same to you.
Thanks. So I want to talk a little bit about Maddie's Miracle Grant and the application process. Like you said, this is twice a year, I think you said, and right now
Yeah.
the grant is open from March 1st until the 31st. So for people who are watching now or people who may see this afterwards, give a little information about what the Miracle Grant is and then the application process, some of the rules that you have in place, and then, how you hope to be able to be able to help people's lives as they go through this process.
Yeah. Currently, our IVF grant, Maddie's Miracle Grant, is open to patients of a specific infertility clinic or reproductive endocrinology clinic in Arizona. That is the Arizona Center for Fertility Studies. It is where we went for IVF, and it felt very special to us to give back to the clinic that supported us through a pretty difficult process. So, the requirements for it are to be a patient at the clinic, to have a diagnosis of infertility, to have financial need, which is really very large for us, and wanting to support the families that really need the extra help financially or have exhausted different avenues. So that's huge for us, the financial need, and then also being a resident of Arizona. Those are the big requirements. And then outside of that, it's just an application that you fill out online through our website. And once the application cycle closes, we sit down as a selection committee and we review all the applications, decide on a recipient, and all applicants are notified the week of April 7th whether or not they were selected for the spring cycle. So there's really no big rules in place other than the four I touched on, and just getting on and filling out the application as completely as you can.
And where can people find your website, the application, or any other information they may have?
Yes, our website is the hadwinfamilyfoundation.org. You can go up to the side where there's three little lines, select there and go down to Maddie's Miracle Grant. And then there are two options. You can apply directly through the website, or you can download the PDF, take your time if you need, and then re-upload it right there to that site. And that's it. That's the whole process. We work with ACFS, the Reproductive Endocrinology Clinic, on confirming that you are a patient of theirs, that you meet the medical criteria to even undergo their IVF process. And then outside of that, it's just going through each application and sitting down as a committee.
Great. Well, I appreciate it. And for those, you can also find information on the Hadwin Family Foundation on Grand Fertility's website. We're really proud to highlight the work that you guys are doing. So you can go to our website and click to link directly to their stuff as well if you're having trouble for any reason trying to find their stuff. And recommend everyone follow Jessica on social media and then others to be able to learn more about this. But again, just wanted to thank you so much for the work that you are doing, for the work the foundation's doing in Arizona and Kansas. To know that you're really having an impact on people's lives, and the opportunity for me to be able to share your story a little bit with the community. And if there's anything at all that we can do, please reach out. Would love to be able to continue to work with the foundation and helping others and just spreading awareness to this really important issue. So again, thank you for all that you're doing.
Yeah, thanks for having me on and letting us continue to talk about what we're doing and get the word out there. And we really appreciate everything you're doing on the advocacy side for infertility patients.
Of course. Well, thank you so much, and I hope you have a good rest of the day.
Yeah, you too.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.